has a first turn Aether Vial.
Now the Aether Vial is not going to be quick enough, I don't think, to really interfere here. All right, Ponder. So what he's doing is he's just simply digging through his deck, trying to get to a creature that can attack with Infect, and then these, these pump spells that can get in for lethal.
Yeah, Ian, probably looking across the table, sees Hierarch, Ponder, goes, okay, what is this, Bant? Am I playing against some sort of Bant deck?
I would assume Bant if I saw that, right? Maybe some combo-y, I don't know, what's Natural Order? I don't know, something weird,
it's
right?
With the Ponder, it's not Maverick. First you see Hierarch, I go, okay, Maverick. If I see Ponder, now I'm going, okay, so this is some sort of Bant deck. He may be shocked to find out what is actually coming. Now, he does have access to Submerge, as you actually have on the
Yeah,
on
now
the
this
screen.
is
Now,
in his
that
sideboard.
in the board, okay.
Yeah, this is his board. So I'm kind of just
that'll help later.
thinking ahead here,
But he has access to Daze, which is going to be relevant because, okay, you pay your Invigorate for free, and now you have to pay an extra one. Well, if you tapped out,
so that's something
matter.
that Galen's going to have to keep in mind. The sequence of turns that I just described, does not play around Daze, and he could pay for it.
Now, Galen can probably look across, sees Island, Aether Vial, and say, okay, I think this guy's probably on Merfolk.
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption here.
But Scalding Tarn fetches
is this
an
a blighted
island,
agent?
and 1, 2, we have
It is a blighted agent,
blighted
right?
agent. I believe so. I'm having trouble recognizing the artwork, but I'm pretty sure it's a blighted agent.
That is a blighted agent.
Okay.
Confirmed.
Yeah, that is some crazy. From far away, the artwork looks really weird.
It does. It just
looks
looks
like a big black blob.
Yeah. All right. Looks like we're going to
Okay.
see a Force of Will on the blighted agent. It's going to remove a Coralhelm commander.
So I guess Ian has now figured out what his opponent is playing.
Yep.
Yeah, there's the artwork of
And
blighted
you see
agent.
it's a 1/1 infect that is also unblockable.
Yeah, so I think it is in Ian's best interest to go ahead and take care of that, even if it cost him 2 cards and a life. The life actually means nothing because Galen's plan is to infect Ian. So losing a life from Force of Will, not a problem.
All right. So
Ian goes ahead and casts Lord of Atlantis.
doesn't
Galen,
recognize that one, I guess.
he just, I think, wanted to see who did the art, and I believe, is it Melissa Benson? Or
It is the one with that cool signature.
Yeah, Melissa Benson has a pretty cool signature. Yeah, Melissa Benson, look at that.
Look at you.
Also did the Shivan Dragon, the popular,
Yep.
revised or early alpha Shivan Dragon. I say revised, that was when I was playing. So. All right, so
Glistener Elf comes
Glistener
down.
Elf
So
from Galen.
any one of these creatures can kill Ian. He cannot just be content to just race here. Like, out of nowhere, Galen's deck can just pile on a ton of Infect and just kill his opponent.
I love that Noble Hierarch just adds that one extra power, because most of the time Galen's going to be attacking with one guy. That's
Yep.
it. Just one guy. So
That's true.
Exalted is awesome to have here. Aether Vial ticks up to 2.
We're going
after
to see, there's a Rancor in Galen's
oh, that's
deck.
right, and we're gonna maybe see some of that. Ian Vials in a Curse Catcher, and then Vial ticks up to 2.
That was an end step then, huh?
Yeah, end step Curse Catcher, and then beginning of upkeep tick up the Vial. So Ian is going to be able to get in here if he would like. Now I think Galen's probably just going to let that in, even if it's it's got Island Walk. He has to let it in.
Yes.
So he's going to take 2 there.
And that will matter down the road, but really this game is going to much more come down to, can Galen assemble the needed pump spells and get in with that Glistener Elf to kill Ian? I mean,
he really just
Ian
needs
cannot
one
raise.
window. That's it.
Yes.
That's what's so scary about the Infect decks in Standard that we saw, and here in Legacy. Like, just one small window,
and boom,
and
you're
the
dead.
Infect
And they
deck
don't
can
even
just
have that
kill
much
you.
mana to do it either. It's just.
It's really impressive and really fun to watch. So
I always get the impression of the opponents that lose to that kind of dazed walking away going, I don't know what happened.
yeah,
I thought I was winning.
played everything. I mean, he didn't even attack me. That was yesterday.
Yeah.
So Tropical Island, Galen, and I believe he just passed back, and Vial ticked up to 3.
We see a Silvergill Adept come into Ian's hand. He also has a Marrow Regery in hand. I think he has a daze. Not sure though.
So I assume that Adept was not in his hand at the end of Galen's turn because he would have vialed it in, yeah.
For sure. He drew it. I watched. Two times. Two Adepts. Well, that's a little weird. Why wouldn't he have vialed one in?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know if he has two. I don't think he just has one.
And looks like Ian's going to go ahead and swing with just, okay, it looked like he was going to go with the Lord, but he didn't, so just another 2 from the Curse Catcher, and he passes back.
I think you swing with the Lord there. Why wouldn't you?
Swing with the Lord and play the Adept or something?
Well, you can swing with the Lord, Dismember, like right now if you want. Like
Dismember will help.
I mean, Dismember's like one of his only answers to kill like Inkmoth Nexus and such though, so he doesn't want to waste it. But I mean, I would trade the Glistener Elf for my Lord all day. If he blocks it, you can Dismember. You can flash this guy in to make it bigger.
So I believe Galen just plays Inkmoth Nexus and passes. And Ian now says, all right, activate Aether Vial.
You took it, okay, so he has a Sower in his hand then.
Must be.
Like you did not go to 4 unless you have a Sower in your hand.
He's got a Sower of Temptation.
Okay. That makes sense now.
Yeah, so the Vial takes up to 4.
Ooh, that Sower is going to be a beating. There's no way that Galen's deck has a way to remove a creature, right? Like green, blue. I don't think he's playing Dismember, is he?
He's got Spell Pierce,
which doesn't do anything.
Right. I'm just like looking at his ways.
He can Vines of Vastwood, but that's not what you want to be doing either. Anyway. All right. So what happened here? Why is that? Why is our Mirror Regery? Read that one.
So it looks like he cast Silverial Adept, revealed Coral Helm Commander, I think. And there's a lot of things happening under that box this weekend for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm not real sure why that feels that way, but
the one that says your name.
Yeah, your name and my name.
Yeah.
So now Ian is going to swing in with Lord of Atlantis, Marrow Regery, and Curse Catcher. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, Curse Catcher gets double pumps. Each Lord pumps the other. All 3 power dudes. I gotta tell you, I mean, as explosive as we've been talking about this Infect deck, I'm not sure what's going on Galen's side of the board.
He's got 5 lands.
I guess that's something, being flooded with
Maybe
Infect.
He just has too many lands. You know, he does need action spells here, right? I mean, he's got to have, you know, some combination of pump spells. But Ian's got to tread lightly here because, again, Galen can just go off. Now, having a Sower of Temptation in the bag at instant speed that's completely uncounterable.
In addition to a Dismember.
Kind of a big game.
Yeah, he's basically got 2 instant speed removal spells here. He's got Dismember and he's got Sower.
Yeah, he's a fairly solid lock here on this game because, you know, even if Glistener Elf gets huge, it can just get Sower of Temptation at instant speed. Just had a Max McCall sighting there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. He designed the Magic the Gathering online cube. He works in R&D as a developer.
Actually, Evan just tweeted at me to tweet my duels feedback to him. So, okay, so let's figure out what's happening here.
Yeah, so we have an activation on the Inkmoth Nexus. And
Ian's
before
steal
anything, why would you do it now?
Well, if you're gonna use the Sower, go ahead. I mean,
don't you make him use up a bunch of abilities on it? Like, I don't know. I wait because what happens is, so he says, "I attack with both," and you say, "Sure, no blocks." I'm taking 2 poison, and then he goes, "Invigorate," blah blah blah, does all this, you know, berserking, invigorating stuff, and then you're like, those both resolve, Sower that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nicer, I guess, to get that many cards out of his hand.
Or just to see what he's doing. I mean, you know, Ian might be very familiar with what the Blue-Green Infect deck is actually trying to do, but he might not. You know,
right, it's nice to see what his opponent has access to. So
I just feel like it's nearly free information.
he did get the idea that, okay, this guy's going to try to infect me. He's playing forests. I bring in Submerge.
And interestingly, I think that Galen is going to bring in his Submerges, maybe. No, is it only on green creatures?
It's just, well, it's if your opponent controls a forest.
But isn't it a green creature that it can target only? Oh, no, it's just any
target creature. Yeah, they have to control a forest. That's
so he might bring them in.
Well, I mean.
Oh, your opponent has to control. Okay, I'm sorry.
So no, Galen's not bringing in.
Still learning these cards,
Submerge.
obviously.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also sometimes I get
confused
which deck list I'm thinking of. They both have Submerge in the board.
Yeah.
Galen will probably not bring his in against Merfolk, but Ian will probably bring his in against Galen. But yeah, let's just look at Ian and going, okay, I'm playing against an Infect deck. Maybe Perish. We did see he does have access to black.
That kills a green creature or
yeah, destroy all green creatures.
Yeah, even if you just one for ones with it.
Yeah, I mean it's a dark banishing for a Glistener Elf. I mean if as we've said earlier talking about Infect, like you just keep the creatures off the board. That's something, even if you have to.
I wonder how easy it is for Ian's deck to play Perish.
Yeah, I mean we've seen him with Underground Sea in multiple. I mean we saw him earlier today in an earlier round. He had Underground Sea. I think he had it there too. So he doesn't seem to have problems hitting it.
I wonder, what do you think about? From Galen's side, I see that he has either 2 or 3 nature's claims here. Like, do you think he overreacts a little bit to the Aether Vial and just says, I need nature's claim? Because I don't think I would bring him in against a Vial.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's wrong or right, but my gut tells me wrong.
I mean, all right, if I'm Galen, and we had this kind of conversation yesterday, I think this deck is more a combo deck than an aggro deck, right?
Yes, it is. It plays like that.
Combo decks, you don't want to dilute your main 60 very much. And I'm looking at his board. He's got Spell Pierce, he's got Tormod's Crypt, he's got Submerge, he's got Nature's Claim, he's got Fairy Macabre, and he's got Gut Shot. And looking at that, the only cards that I even consider are Gut Shot and Spell Pierce.
Yeah.
But even there, like, it's iffy. It's only if he has things that are just awful in his main,
like,
I think.
what's the best, like if you play a Gut Shot, you take 2 damage, and you take out like a Silvergill Adept that is not
no lords
pumped.
Can be in play.
Yeah,
right.
and like if he has like an active Aether Vial, then you just can't make that play because he can flash in a Lord, and then you just waste your Gut Shot, and like this deck could beat you down.
Right, and
we were talking about the Infect deck being explosive and being able to kind of almost combo off. But if you've played any matches, which I have against Merfolk, it is also very explosive. They're just like, oh, I have 3 5/5s.
Right.
And you're like, whoa! Like, I thought I was playing like a couple of 2/2s, and I'm taking 15. And by the way, it's all unblockable.
Yeah, and I mean, and by that same token, like you have the Merfolk deck has 24 creatures main deck. Spell Pierce doesn't have that many targets, so maybe you don't even bring those in.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know.
No,
we'll see what Galen did, but looks like right now both players just on well, Ian has an Underground Sea there, as I mentioned. He doesn't seem to have problems finding those. Galen just went Scalding Tarn go. Ian goes Underground Sea. Galen now cracking his Scalding Tarn, I believe, during Ian's end step. Zane actually mentions maybe Ian was playing around Ranger's Guile.
Yeah, there's Ranger's Guile is one of the cards, but he has a Dismember in hand. So to me it's like he Ranger's Guile, and actually it's what is that card called? Vines of the Vastwood. Vines of Vastwood is a card that he has as well.
Well, Brainstorm from Galen. Is this still Ian's end step? Or was this a main phase Brainstorm?
Oh, I saw him crack his fetch. It's end step.
Is it still end step? I believe it still is.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Untap. So that was an end step Brainstorm. Draws this card. Plays an Inkmoth Nexus. Taps 2 and plays Blighted Agent.
Gotta be a Blighted Agent here. He can get dazed though. He's gotta be careful. He's not facing any pressure currently. It looks like
no dazes for me, but he's got double force.
Double forces, but I think you're okay with that. He just runs it out there.
Yeah, Blighted Agent.
Now in this case, it's going to work out for him because it is going to draw a Force of Will, which is really
removes Regery.
Wow,
yeah.
it removes Regery too.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised at that too. I mean, I don't know if I want to force, but
I think I just forced
looking at my hand. Oh, he does have another Regery. He has apparently had double Regery, double force.
Okay.
So maybe that's why he's okay with that.
They both go Manland, and now an Adept, and he's going to reveal the Regery here. And we got a reader.
Just a 2/1 draws him a card. Show him the Regery. All right. And
so if like, this is an interesting spot, because right now, like, if Galen has a green source, he could do what we were talking about, where it's like Invigorate, Berserk, you're dead. Now we do know that Ian happens to have another force, but is that a Submerge in Ian's hand? Is that what that Submerge is?
Yes, it is.
So he can play that for free and put a creature on top of its owner's library.
Yep.
Right now?
He could.
Okay.
He could very well decide to do that right now, although I might hold back.
I mean, would it put the Ink Moth on top? It would just like put the land on top? That's pretty good.
It is. It's like a half a pile on there. Now you start going, okay, I want to Submerge.
What is that? Is that Invigorate?
That's Invigorate, so he just cast it for free. He's going to do 5 poison here if Ian decides he does not want to Submerge it. If you control a forest, which he does, you may have an opponent gain 3 life, so Ian's going to gain 3, and automatically just from that. And then the Ink Moth is going to become a 5/5. Now, apparently Ian says that resolves and another Invigorate, and this is going to be blowout city.
So Galen has not hedged here. He's
all in.
He's just moving in on this right here. This would be 9 poison.
And there's the Submerge.
There it is. He says, I've got it. Wow, that is just devastating. I mean, Galen has played very aggressively this game. He played his 2-drop into a Daze and just said, man, we're just going to do this. And now he's just been submerged basically into oblivion. Like, that was like essentially a 3-for-1. It took away a draw step from Galen and took away 2 of his cards as well. Yeah, wow. It's pretty devastating.
Awful. And, well, still a lot of game to go at this point. Wow. Ian just with the Silver Girl Adept and Mutavault as well.
Man, you're a lot more. You're a lot happier than I would. Just be devastated, man. I'd just be like, oh my goodness, what a blowout that was.
That was that was too much. But I mean, I'm sure, Galen's got to be aware of those kind of things. So I wonder if he did that because he does still have some gas. There's a Regery from Ian.
So he's going to hit for 3 here with the Silver Gill Adept.
Ink Moth.
Hey, look, it's an Ink Moth Nexus. What? What are we doing? All right, he's going to play a Necropede. I like that card.
Necropede. He just has 1 of those, right?
I don't know. The board? Yeah, it just has 1. Yeah, it's a 1/1 infect for 2 colorless, which is something that he's interested in playing. He also has 2 Ichor Claw Mirror. Necropede's sweet. If it dies, you can put a 1/1 counter on something, and it has infect itself, so it can take down something with 2 power, or excuse me, 2 toughness. All right.
So it looks
so
like
Galen is tanking, as is Ian.
Yeah, both players.
This is the part of the game where they just stare at the board and try to figure out what the plan is to finish.
Yeah.
Because Ian's looking to. All right, and then he's going to put the counter on that when it dies, so he's going to get to trade his Necropede off. So Galen clearly doesn't have any more, pump left in his hand, and if he's willing to make that trade, he's just trying to stay alive here.
Yeah, so Ian tries to get in with both Merfolk. One trades with the Necropede. Silvergill Adept connects for 3, and Pithing Needle comes down.
Is going to name
Ink Moth Nexus, I would assume.
All right, and there's another Infector, and this is the Ichor Claw Mirror. When it becomes blocked, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Ian still, though, man, I'm telling you, this Infect deck, we saw it in the standard portion.
It did name Ink Moth, that's confirmation.
Okay.
From
he still has to be careful here. You don't want to get sloppy You know, he got a huge advantage off of that submerge, and he just needs to you know, keep committing creatures to the board and eventually aggroing out Galen. But he has to remain conscious of the fact that he could just die at any time.
Yeah.
You know, like you can just get killed.
I think that pithing needle is actually very significant because, you know, a lot of if Galen could sit here, his plan could have been just try to keep trading creatures until I have a window with the ink moth. Well, the ink moth window is shut permanently. I mean, I don't think Galen has an answer for a pithing needle. So
I mean, he does in his board, but I don't think he brought him in.
Yeah, I wouldn't think he would bring in.
Claims.
No, yeah, I don't think so either.
All right.
So here's a Silvergill Adept into the red zone. Believe that just connected.
Yeah, and I mean, right now Galen does have attacks here. He's going to play Rancor.
Rancor. Okay, so you guys who haven't seen this card,
this is a Force of Will hard
You're going to see it get Force of Willed here.
Yeah.
Sorry for the.
But
I mean, it just took a Force of Will.
Yeah, so I guess that does get some respect.
Yeah, it did not resolve. So the thing about Rancor is, if it resolved, there it is. It's an enchantment aura, cost 1. A creature gets +2/+0 and has trample. That would be huge here. When Rancor is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return it to its owner's hand. Now, it never hit the battlefield there. It was countered on the stack. But if it had resolved, that Rancor sticks around.
Yep.
So. And now, Ian.
We're going to see that in M13.
We are.
So, yeah, get used to it indeed.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know how excited I am about that. That card kind of scares me. But it
is a little scary. And I think with Infect in the format for a few months with Rancor, we may see a lot more Infect decks over the summer.
All right, so it looks like Galen took 4 here. I think he's dropped to 7 life.
Yeah, Adept and Mutavault.
Ian did get scratched. He has 1 poison.
Yeah, just a little bit. Luckily for Ian, there's not a whole lot of proliferate action in Galen's deck.
Fetch land for Ian. And he's just gonna have to attack again. Take a poison.
Yes.
Whoop, we see a fetch land crack here. Maybe something's happening?
Shenanigans?
I don't think so.
I don't know if it's shenanigans.
He might have already just taken it.
Yeah, we just haven't seen the update.
Yeah.
But Scalding Tarn was cracked.
Yeah, he took it.
Okay.
So this is just an end step Scalding Tarn.
We're like, what is happening with the Scalding Tarn?
Does this deck run Brainstorm?
Eaton's deck?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't actually. Merfolk tends to not run Brainstorm. It's one of the blue decks that doesn't. It's kind of a strange anomaly in the format. Now there is a Nature's Claim, but Mutavault's not an artifact
creature.
He
so
thought he was
Factory, Mishra's Factory
is, yeah.
But that is not. So that is not a legal target for that.
Yeah, Galen's like, oh, come on.
Maybe he wanted it to be. So he took it back to his hand, right?
Yeah, he did. He can't target anything. So he's going to go ahead and cast the Pithing Needle, I guess, which could be good anyway. We didn't think he even brought in.
He can block now. Kill the Silvergill Adept if he wants.
He can also, get in for some more poison with the ink bomb.
Unfortunately, Ian's in for. Ooh. So he must have done that post blocking. So Galen's going to be at 3 here. He can survive the next turn, but. That involves 2 chump blocks, or 1 trade and 1 chump.
Yeah, Galen needs 6 power worth of pump to resolve, I think, right here. And that's actually not even counting the chump from the Mutavault.
I mean, he needs more.
He needs 7 power worth of pumps if you assume the ink moth doesn't get blocked, but the Ichor Clawmere does, right?
Right. Because there is 1 untapped Mutavault. Looks like Galen is kind of. I think he would have done it right away. You get that vibe that he would have just been like, get in there, do this, because he's dead on board in 2 turns, or he can live for 1 more turn, but then not really have any outs to win anyway. His deck needs to be able to turn a guy sideways in order to win. Mm-hmm. And this next turn is gonna involve him losing both of his creatures if he can't win this turn, and he's just gonna extend the hand.
Give it up.
He just could never get any momentum.
I feel a little bad for Ian because we've seen him in 2 matches, and in both we've kind of rooted for the other deck. We were like, we wanted to see Allurin go off. We want to see Infect happen.
When you show up with Merfolk,
you can't expect.
You're not going to be.
I'm not rooting against him necessarily. It was more like whatever deck was over there.
Yeah.
I was usually not. I mean, as long as it was a a known deck. If it was Maverick, if it was anything, whoever it was over there, I was going to be like excited to see Infect happen. That's the deck that I want to see go off, and it was. I don't know what Ian's problem was, but jeez.
What a jerk.
I know.
Who is this guy? No, but he split though, right? Like he
did lose to the Allurin.
Yeah, the Allurin combo got him, and then so it's fair.
Oh yeah.
Like, we're not asking too
I'm only
much.
kidding. I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
I guess I'm always like looking when I watch a match and I see two decks, especially when one of them's interesting. Who wins isn't necessarily what matters to me, but I want to see both decks. Like I would like to see the decks do what they're supposed to do, and the Infect deck really kind of was just like flood out game 1.
Yep.
Game